Sheila, as a former public servant yourself, right? So I'm going to put you on the spot on this. Do you think it's something that all public servants are aiming for? I mean, it seems to be the narrative that everyone seems to think like, okay, as an extension of public service, a rite of passage, you're aiming for politics. Is that necessarily true?
I think my response on this is generally not going to be very popular with your viewership. I think a fundamental difference in starting point between civil servants and some others and other people who are viewing people joining politics is that it's a desirable thing. As an ex-civil servant, I have to say, it's the call you hope you never receive. It's really the call you hope you never receive. It's the call you pray you never receive, because when you are asked to step forward into that role, you have to then start confronting your own selfishness and ask yourself the question, is what I like about my life worth more to me than what I hope for my country? And it's not about having the ego of thinking, oh, I am the one who will be able to change things. It's more about, if they're asking me, it means they need people and they think they need the kind of capability I have. And am I willing to say, no, I will deprive you of that capability in a sense because I like my life? And I have to say, I think the vast majority of civil servants would, including myself, would make the selfish decision, right? Because we have a front row seat to how horrible a politician's life is. I mean, you're getting emails from them past midnight and before 5 a.m. You see their schedule. You know how much they see their family or how much they don't. And I'm not trying to make anyone feel sorry for anyone, but you would be able to contribute by serving, being a good public servant, writing good policy, implementing good policy, trying to improve lives. So you'd be able to serve in that way. So that's very satisfying. You'd be compensated fairly. You would have secure employment, right? Because, it's not the private sector and it's not political office. You are generally assured a career. And you would have your privacy and you would have your time with your family. And so that's why I think when I was almost a little surprised, but I understand it, right? Why people have been so upset that civil servants are joining politics. If I had to put myself in their shoes, and I personally know some of the people who are running, and they're really solid people who have great careers in the civil service, who are very valued by the organization, who would go very far in the organization. And it came as a surprise to many of us that they were willing to give that up, right, to step forward. If I had to put myself in their shoes, and I don't know if this is their motivation or not, but one reason could simply be knowing that we need that diversity of voices in our parliament, which includes people from the civil sector, the people sector, private sector, academia, and also from the civil service, because you bring a different point of view. You understand how government works. You understand the trade-offs in policy making. It's what you do day in, day out. And you have trained from the first day to have a very long-term orientation to doing what is right for the country. And with mature democracies, we see example after example of political systems where the government becomes more and more focused on the next electoral cycle rather than the next generation for its country. And I can see why civil servants will want to step forward to say, okay, this is not something I aspire to. I don't think I will enjoy this very much. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But I think I can try to contribute some long-term thinking. And if as a result, I do not go far in this field, then I can go back to having a quiet life somewhere else in this economy. I
suppose the trade-off for civil servants are even worse than private sector, because if you don't win an election or you lose an election, you can't go back to public service, right? And then you're left in a limbo to some extent, career-wise at least.
Indeed. I mean, in Singapore, we prize having single citizenship, right? Yeah. So we say, if you want to become a citizen of Singapore, we're a great country, we give you a lot of benefits, we want you to give up your other citizenship. And that's a prerequisite for you becoming a Singapore citizen. And that's how we can trust, right, in a way that new citizens are here for the so-called right reasons, or to really be a long-term part of our country and not just kind of fair weather friends. Yeah. The same can be said for civil servants. They're giving up something that they can't get back. And many of them love their jobs. I mean, for people who have a public service orientation, being in the public service can be very satisfying, very fulfilling. And they're giving that up. And I think it does come at a cost to them.
So once you stand for office, you cannot rejoin the civil service, even if you're not elected.
I don't think that's a
I don't know that there's any precedent, but at a minimum, you've given up a lot of things that I think you can't get back.
I suppose you've shown your hand as well, right?
Yeah.
Then it's difficult to go back and maintain objectivity or neutrality really in that sense.